right, guys. So today we're going to read from the book of Luke, chapter 16, and from verses 19 to 31. The rich man and Lazarus. Okay, let me focus this. See if you guys can see that. I'm going to go right here. Okay. There was a certain rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared simultaneously every day. Fared means he was always in good shape. Now keep in mind that when Jesus Christ was crucified, they mocked him by putting a crown made of thorns on his head, and they clothed him with a purple robe. Purple robe, the color purple meant royalty back in the days. And it says here that this rich man who was clothed in purple. So if he was clothed in purple, he was somebody not just rich, but important. Let's continue. But there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, full of sores, who was laid at his gate. So it was a rich person, obviously had a castle. It was this poor person that was laying by the gate, which was just outside the rich man's house, desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So it was that that beggar died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. Now, I was raised Catholic, and we always talked about the purgatory. There is no purgatory. There is no place where people go and rest and they get prayed out. It doesn't exist. However, many Catholics believe that Abraham's bosom is a purgatory. Okay. So, and it says here, and being, and now this is the rich man, and being in torments in Hades, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Then he cried out and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. And Abraham said, Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and you are tormented. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that those who want to pass from here to you cannot, nor can those pass to us. So there's this gulf between where Lazarus is and where the rich young ruler. But this is the thing that, let's read here in chapter verse 24. Then he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. This is how pride is so dangerous in a person. Instead of asking for forgiveness, instead of saying, I am sorry, instead of saying, I am, you know, showing empathy, he told Abraham, can you please tell Lazarus to go dip his finger and bring it back? Not get me out of here. Not I'm sorry. Can I get another chance? This guy was prideful. And who was a prideful person? Satan. Pride is the first sin that was committed before Adam and Eve because Satan was kicked out of heaven due to his pride. Let's continue. Then he said, I beg you, therefore, Father, that you would send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brothers, that he may testify to them, lest they also come to this place of torment. So Abraham wanted to, so this guy, the rich dude, wanted Abraham to send Lazarus to talk to his family and to warn them about where the place that he's at. Can you imagine the people that are tormented as we speak, that they're in Hades, tormented, not the purgatory? Because if it was a purgatory, then why would one person be with Abraham and another person be with Hades? So there's no purgatory. There's no, you know, um, um, the visitor's lounge or whatever, right? The waiting room. There's nothing. Nobody's. Once you die, you go to heaven or you go to Hades, according to what I'm understanding. Because it says here, for I have 5 brothers, lest he may testify to them, also come to this place of torment. Abraham said to him, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, no, Father Abraham, but if one goes to them from the dead, they will repent. But he said to him, if they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither would they be persuaded through one rises from the dead. So, how many of us did we have that one person that came to us and talked to us about God and we didn't listen? How many of us did we have that grandma's prayers, those mother's prayers? And how many of us did we ignore the homeless person? Did we ignore that person that is hungry? That mother, that man, that child? And because of our pride. How many of us are like Lazarus, and how many of us are like this rich guy? A lot of us. But the interesting thing that this rich guy, instead of saying, let me go, please let me tell my parents, my brothers, my dad, he said, can you send Lazarus? Why do you think he said that? Because they will listen to Lazarus and they will not listen to this rich ruler. Because this rich ruler was probably a liar. He was probably not telling the truth in a lot of things. So even though if he would had the opportunity to go, they wouldn't believe him. They would think he was crazy. They would think all of a sudden, or his pride didn't let him. His pride didn't let him, hey, I'm sorry. His pride rather said, just have him dip his finger in water and have him cool my tongue. Guys, this is serious stuff. And I really pray that if anybody's listening to this video, you might be the rich ruler, or you could be Lazarus, a person that has nothing. And it says here that Lazarus, yeah, it says right here, Lazarus, that, no, let me, yeah, right there. Okay, anyways. Here it is. But there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, desiring to be fed from the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. So obviously he wasn't inside the home. He was outside, based on the way this parable is explained. So I'm envisioning that Lazarus was outside, close to a window, and this rich guy was just eating and looking at him, probably eating a piece of chicken and just throwing the bones out, right? Something like that. Probably eating a fruit and throwing away the peels out the window, just like looking at him, like, yeah, whatever. Because the rich ruler knew who Lazarus was. Because they both died. And it says here, so it was that the beggar died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And being in torment in Hades, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham from afar and Lazarus in his bosom. Then he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus. So the rich guy knew who Lazarus was. He knew who Lazarus was. That he may dip the tip of his finger in water so he could cool my tongue. So this rich guy knew who Lazarus was. And he didn't have any empathy. He didn't have any empathy. This rich guy knew who Lazarus was. And he wasn't helping while they were both alive. This rich guy. And another thing that it just hit me. Wow. Wow. What was the rich guy's name? Sorry. The rich guy. He's not mentioned by name. So if he's not mentioned by name, God will not remember you. Wow. That just hit me. There was a certain rich man who was clothed by a purple fine. Yeah, no, I don't see his name. Lazarus, he was humble. Moreover, beggar, nobody knows this guy's name. It was just a rich guy. Can you imagine? Oh, that was just a rich guy. Oh, no, that was Lazarus that passed away. Wow, I've read this story so many times, and I just realized that the rich man is not mentioned by name. Unbelievable. Wow. I want to be mentioned by name when I die. Don't you? I'm sure you do. If Abraham sees you in heaven, Moses, Noah, hey, what's up, Rico? Hey, what's up? Put in your name. Like Lazarus. Hey, Lazarus. But the rich guy. Anyways. That brought goosebumps. Anyways, guys. That's today's reading. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. God bless you. And remember, it's in the Bible.